Hello. It has been a while since I've done one of these. This will very much be a vlog where I give you my personal feelings, things that have been happening in my life. If you if you don't want to hear that, move on from the video and go back to your life. Just if you care to listen, I'll try to keep this within about 15 minutes. Promise. Uh, Years ago, because I'm 43 now. Years ago, when I was 34, 35, I made the conscious decision to make myself be more personable, to be approachable. I wanted to have better conversations with everybody, and so forth. One of the things I worked on, and let's see if by the end of the year I'll give you all of my dirty secrets, so forth. One of the things I worked on was to separate my human emotions from my logical thought and rationality. What I've come to discover so far is that by doing so, people will think that I don't care about them. People will think that I don't give a shit or I am just a monster. Why? Because I underreact. Part of my journey was to study people, how they act and talk, how they react. It sounds completely manipulation. But I promise you it was not gaslighting, because nobody wants to feel gaslit. Nobody. But I separated those parts of myself, and so I also observed everybody else. For example, if there's a behavior I see from somebody that doesn't match up to their usual behavior, because it's a definite change, I made notes of it. There was a note, boom. And then if I saw it again, boom, another note. So by doing that, I also kept quiet about it. I did my absolute best to never call anyone out. I made it so that I kept my conclusions to myself. I kept it to myself. And we're, of course, being human, we all make conclusions, and what we do is we use the available knowledge to fill in the gaps. If there's a gap in the event or the event, if there's any gaps in it, we use what we know to predict and fill in the gaps. One of my points to do was to not assume, to not put a label. I simply observed and took notes. Observe and take notes. Something happened that was the final piece in the puzzle. The final piece in the puzzle that all of my notes that led to this conclusion, correct. It's those movie plots where everything made sense. Like the final event happened, and then there's a flashback of everything that happened before, and then you are vindicated that you made the right conclusion. So doing that with multiple people, I kept my thoughts to myself. I just observed. But the more data you take in, the more data you take in, the more similar situations come out that you can properly predict what's going to happen. And again, I'm keeping my thoughts to myself because I'm always the one in the background and observing, and I like to stay that way. I like staying there. Well, moving on, fast forwarding a little bit. 2020 January, I had the heart failure. I was diagnosed, and I further made my decision for me that I was to separate and not react, to not get angry, to not be shocked, because those two things would raise my blood pressure. It would raise my heart rate, because my heart's problem is ejection. It cannot pump blood out fast enough. So when there's a backup of blood coming in, that's when the angina comes. That's when I feel it, the angina, because my heart cannot spit out the blood fast enough to keep up with the activity, or my reaction, or my emotion. Again, that's where people, because of my underreaction, people are going to think that I don't care, I don't give a shit. They're going to think I'm cold. I just couldn't help it. So being able to see it happen, predicting that it would happen, has now worked against me. I've done so much observing that now I grew an appreciation for the phrase ignorance is bliss. If I didn't know, I would have been in a better place. But now that I do know, and because I could see what would happen in the future, man, oh man. Now going back to the separating the emotion from the human thought. So I got rid of the triggers for most of my emotions. So the only thing that's left are the huge events that would trigger an emotional response. And one of them did happen recently, but I'm doing my best to attack it like I normally would. Hey, calm down. Don't get upset. Calm down. Don't get upset. I'm not going to be able to satisfy everyone. And so at age 43, I just decided to not even try anymore. Is it the old man talking? Probably. If I let my beard grow, there's some white hairs right here. Luckily, there's none in my eyebrows yet. I'm getting old. and possibly getting weaker because I can't push myself physically. Working out is such, it's not a chore, it's just something that I can't do unless my heart wants to cooperate. So most of my workouts is lightweight and long breaks. I gotta take the long breaks. I'm being very careful with my words because I don't want to out anybody and I don't want to mention any names. Here's one more, right? There is me who wants to feel wanted and needed. And even though I don't voice it, it would be nice if I could be given the credit. But here's the argument. The vice, no, man, what's that word? The result, the reaction, the reflex action. Because I stay back, mostly in the shadows, I'm easily forgotten about. Me staying quiet has made me seem okay. Oh, he's okay because he's not saying anything. Because he's not reacting to this event. So, because there's no reaction, he must be fine. Even though I am not fine. It almost makes me want to cry wolf. But then I told myself I never wanted to cry wolf. Do you see this insane circle that I'm doing to myself? I've got to tell myself to stop it. I've got to stop it. Or I have to continue to modify my approach to being a better person. So that's what I wanted to say, okay? Okay. Next video I'll shine a little more light on that. If you listened for 13 minutes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I am okay, but I'm not. I could use some input. I think that's what I crave too. Because I seem fine, nobody wants to give me their input.